What is up guys, it's your boy Soul. I'm here, back with another classic WoW video for Season of Discovery. I kinda butchered that intro, didn't I? Either way, today I want to talk about my plans in the upcoming season for Classic WoW, which is actually coming out in just a couple of days now. It's like, the days have been going so fast for me. I've been checking out so many this Season of Discoveries things, and really the last couple of days have been going to covering or planning which classes I'm going to play, what's going to be my main, my alt, because there's so many classes that look so much fun. The runes that are coming out are altering pretty much every single class, and even every single spec. Mages can heal, warlocks can tank, rogues can tank, shamans can tank. There's so many brand new things that are making me so excited to play in the season itself, and today I want to talk about what my plans are, at least for now. And the thing is, the more I look at every single class, the more my plans change every single day. Either way, today I'm going to talk about my plans as they are right about now. The first character I intend to play is going to be a Warlock, and there's one main reason for that, and I'll show you that right now. That is the Destruction. The Destruction talents, the Destruction builds, and the Destruction runes just make it look so much fun, and there's so many good combos you can do as Destruction. And having played both Demonology and Affliction in the past, I've never been Destro in Classic WoW. Like, even in Vanilla WoW, TBC, or even Wrath, I've never been able to play Destro on a competitive level, and it's looking like in Season of Discovery it's actually going to be very competitive to play Destro, and that is because you have so many good combos coming out. You have Incinerate, Lake of Fire, and Chaos Bolt. So think about this. You have Incinerate, this one increases the fire damage you deal by 25% for the next 15 seconds. Lake of Fire also increases the fire damage you deal and to affected enemies by the Lake of Fire, for example, by 40%. So that is 25% and then 40% on top, and then you can send out a massive Chaos Bolt dealing fire damage. So fire damage right there, chaotic fire damage increased by Incinerate and Lake of Fire. And think about any other things you can use to actually deal even more damage as well. If you somehow get access to Curse of Elements, which I think is a later spell, but in a later phase, for example, Curse of Elements also increasing damage taken by fire damage on top as well. There's so many cool combinations you can do, so you can build up a massive combo, then send out a Chaos Bolt that hits for several thousand damage instead of what's listed here being like 500 to 600 damage. You can probably crit for 2.5 to 3k at low levels, which could be absolutely insane. So for me, it's like, I've played Warlocks in the past. I've always been a Warlock main pretty much. Even in hardcore I played a Warlock twice, so I've played a Warlock but never Destruction. I leveled up as Affliction or Demonology all the time. I did like end the game content as Affliction. This time around I can play Destro, and in a different way than just spamming Shadow Bolts. It's going to be really interesting. Having Chaos Bolts in Classic WoW just looks so much fun to me, and stacking that with Incinerate and Lake of Fire. Now, for my second character, I was kind of in doubt between a Hunter and a Feral, and I think I'll be playing both. The thing about Seasonal Discovery is that the level cap for Phase 1 is level 25, and getting to level 25 for me should take me about 16 to 20 hours, depends on how fast or slow. Anywhere between 12 and 20 hours, I think I should be able to get to level 25. So, Warlock number 1, then Hunter number 2, and then I think Feral number 3. And once again, what I was trying to say is that level cap being level 25, I can level multiple classes in Phase 1, see which class I enjoy the most, and then I can keep that one going into Phase 2. So Phase 1 is kind of a testing ground for me, test out several characters, and see what's actually fun. Because for now, we have kind of a general idea of what's going to be good, but by getting to level 25 you can play the class, see if it fits your style of gameplay and how you feel about the class itself. We can just theory craft for now, but you have to actually play the class to then get a sense of how the class feels for you. Now, once again, number 2 for me would be a melee Hunter in this case, and that is because of this combo. Look at Flanking Strike. This one is kind of stacking Flanking Strike with Lone Wolf is interesting. Flanking Strike says you and your pet deal simultaneous 100% instant melee damage, and afterwards your Mongoose Bite and Raptor Strike deals 10% increased damage for 10 seconds, stacking up to 3 times, and then Raptor Strike has a 20% chance to reset the cooldown on Flanking Strike. I'm intending to stack this with Lone Wolf as long as you can use Flanking Strike without a pet, because once again the first two sentences there is you and your pet deal damage at the same time for Flanking Strike, so if you have to have a pet for Flanking Strike, then I'll take away Lone Wolf and have a pet, but this is my combination if you can use Flanking Strike without a pet, because Lone Wolf will increase the damage you deal by 25%, and then using Carve as well, it just gives you so many cool things, and being a melee hunter is just like a class fantasy that everyone has, right? And I think they've tried it in the past, like if you played Retail for example, they had a melee hunter at some point, but it wasn't really the kind of melee hunter that I was looking for, and this one really looks like the melee hunter I'm personally looking for. So if this one somehow works, then I'll stick with this, and if you need to have a pet for Flanking Strike, then once again I'll just remove the Lone Wolf and take the one to have a pet instead. So number 1 for me would be once again be a Destro Warlock, number 2 would be a melee hunter, and number 3 would be a Feral, because all the changes coming to Feral Druids are looking really good, and having Wild Strikes to bring Wind Fury Totem to your team is looking like Ferals are both going to be good DPS and good for utility, because now you're buffing everyone. The Wind Fury, Wild Strikes isn't just buffing you, it's buffing everyone in your group, which means that pretty much everyone wants to bring a Feral, especially on the Alliance, everyone wants to bring a Feral, or some Druid that can actually bring Wild Strikes. And once again, Ferals do look like they have a really good DPS in Seasonal Discovery so far, so you can top damage meters and you can buff your team. That is absolutely the best of both worlds. Now let's talk about an aspect of the game that I've covered multiple times in the past, and it's something I'm kind of known for at this point, I guess. That is gold making. Now, Season of Discovery is going to be really interesting because the level caps are kind of like staged, or like you have phase 1 which is level 25, phase 2 is level 40, then level 50, and then eventually level 60. So gold making in Seasonal Discovery is going to be way different than we ever have in the past, but the farms are going to be the same because we're still playing vanilla WoW. So for gold making, I'm personally thinking phase 1 you shouldn't really care that much. In phase 1 just level up some classes, find a class you enjoy playing, and maybe try to farm as a couple of different classes, and stay tuned on phase 2 updates, because in phase 1, once again the level cap is level 25, the farms you can do is going to be very limited, and the gold per hour you can make is also very limited. On top of that, the investments are also very limited, because most of like the long-term valuable investments you start getting around level 30 and level 40, so they're going to be very relevant in phase 2 but not in phase 1. So phase 1, let's just say you could farm technically 2 gold per hour in phase 1, but when phase 2 comes out you can farm 20 gold per hour, right, in terms of raw gold. In that case, 10 hours in phase 1 would be worth 1 hour of your time in phase 2. So just to keep it simple, phase 1 isn't really going to be a gold making phase, but anywhere from phase 2 would be gold making phases, because in phase 2, sure, you could make more gold in phase 3 and phase 4, but once again, you can start making investments in phase 2 that will be very relevant in phase 3 and phase 4. So phase 2 is when I would really suggest you start looking at making some gold, farming some gold, and once again, putting that gold into items, which I personally call investments, because you're buying things in that phase and selling them later for an increased price. Now, the thing is, I have a gold making guide for Classic WoW that I would recommend you check out if you don't have this one yet, and this is the ultimate gold making guide for Classic WoW. It includes 134 pages, more than 50 different gold farms that I've actually tested out in every single version of Classic WoW, Classic Era and Hardcore, and they're really fun, and they give you very good gold per hour as well. I also talk about investments. This is something I made all of my gold with, not all, but most of my gold has come from investments, and investments is like such an easy way to make a crap load of gold in Classic WoW. It is insane. You can also make a ton of gold with professions, there's launch advice and access to a private Discord, which is where I'll be posting most of the Seasonal Discovery updates that way. This guide is going to be relevant for every version of Classic WoW, and the Discord server brings with it some specific updates to like how I'm making my gold. So in that Discord server, I'll talk about my gold making process in phase 1, phase 2 and so on, talk about what I'm farming, what I'm investing into, and everything in between. If you check this one out, if you bought this one for hardcore, you can still use this one now, and I'll be posting updates in that same Discord server. If you don't have it yet, I would recommend checking it out. Once again, it's useful right now. It's useful for Classic Era, Classic Hardcore, and any future season. If we get a Seasonal Discovery 2, you can use the same same guide, and I'll keep updating the same one, and it's gonna use the same Discord server as well. So once again, if you haven't checked that one out, the link to that will be down below. I'll be posting all of my personal gold making journey in that Discord server, which you get access to when you buy the guide itself. And if you do decide to check it out and buy the guide, thank you so much for the support. It really means a lot to me. That's pretty much what I have for you today. I just wanted to talk about my plans, both like character-wise and gold-making-wise, in terms of raiding. Well, phase 1, it has a leveling raid. BFD, to me, is kind of just a fun raid, so we'll see what happens in phase 2 and phase 3 and so on. But the plan is just to enjoy phase 1, phase 2, same thing, but start picking a main in phase 2 pretty much, and start farming some gold as well. Phase 1 is just like playing the game, leveling alts, and discovering. It's Season of Discovery after all. There's a bunch of things we don't know anything about, and my plan is to learn everything that we can learn in phase 1. Let me know your plans in the comments down below. If you have any plans so far, yeah, let me know in the comments down below. If you enjoyed the video, leave a like as well. Thank you so much for watching as always, and I'll see you again very soon.